Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Love Hour podcast. I'm your host, MrsKevOnStage, and I'm joined by my husband and co-host,
the Kev on Stage.
And we do not have a guest here with us today.
No, it's just me and Liz.
It's just me
like the old
and
time.
you. Yes.
Yep.
I know. I'm always grateful when people say that they miss us, but I also really enjoy our guests. I think that they are always amazing and offer really good information and insight that I can't provide on my own. I mean, I guess I could research it, but I feel like when people are like experts and this is their life's work, they're able to offer, a different perspective that I just don't have.
Well, the amount of research you would need to do to have the knowledge Emily has in her back pocket,
right.
You couldn't do it. It's more efficient for you to bring guests.
Yes. And so for that reason, and I love exploring different topics. I'm a genuine like fan of this genre of work. Like the that love and relationships space is something that I've always been intrigued and always enjoyed. So having the guests on, I'm literally just a student sitting next to them because I really thoroughly enjoy them and like learning and gleaning all of that information. And it allows me to be a better host because then I can talk and speak to different things.
Shall we begin?
It allows me to speak to different things that I otherwise wouldn't have had the knowledge to speak to. And I'm working on saying I realize I say it quite a bit and it's like super annoying to me. So I'm working on taking a moment and just even if I just have to take a pause to like complete the thought versus doing that filler of because I'm like enough.
I say a lot too because I'd rather say than have dead space. I'd be what you call it and then do it with my videos and then I end up editing it out anyway.
That's what I'm saying. So it doesn't matter. So it's almost better to just like take the pause and
take the pause.
So what we're going to do today is that was my moment because I literally said in my mind. So what we're going to do today is do a preview of the Love Hour After Dark. It is a new vertical, so to speak, that I am launching of the podcast, which essentially will allow us to dive into topics at a much deeper level. All of the innuendos right now are intentional. It will allow us to take a deeper look into topics that a lot of people have questions on, but may not feel comfortable talking about. Mm-hmm. And specifically when you're listening to podcasts like this, maybe you're listening to them in the car or with your kids or whatever, and those topics aren't really appropriate for little ears. Yeah. And so this will allow us, that after dark, what that means. Mm-hmm. So tell your children to go to bed, go to the other room, go play on a video game, go play Trouble, go play Uno, go do whatever little kids do. So that way you can have these legitimate questions answered. Yes.
I was gonna say
okay, so the this will be for our Patreon only.
Yes.
However, I said again. However, we will do a I know I got to work on it. I have to say it out loud so it stops me from doing it. Okay. But we will do a free preview today, obviously, for those of you who just listen on the regular platforms, on the podcast applications. Mm-hmm. We're going to do a preview of that today.
Yes. Okay. And while we're talking about our Patreon, we have launched it now, the full exclusive content realm. So we have Love Hour After Dark, which is on our Patreon. All the bonus episodes of the Righteous and Ratchet show is on the Patreon. Spoiler alert, movie review show with Doughboy and I on the Patreon. Slept On with Doughboy, where he goes and figures out stuff he should know by now, reads books, has experiences.
He's just going to be watching movies and old shows.
He's reading Malcolm X's book first.
Oh, that's great.
To learn about Malcolm X. So I'll be suggesting books to him. You guys can suggest books, movies, experiences. The Gonzi Tapes, monthly music show.
Someone said they're excited about that, Joshua.
Yeah, so am I. So is Josh. He's already in his head about it.
Are you really?
Yes.
Get out your head. Look at him.
He's like, I don't know the songs. Greg's going to do some fitness videos for us.
You are, Greg?
Yeah. In case you missed it after dark, after dark. In case you missed it, the ones that are too hot for TV will be on Patreon. So all that's for $5. So once we get into our new office, we're going to have to find a way to pay for it. So you get all that stuff for $5. If you can give more, you can give more. If not, just want to make this clear. All the content that we do for free now will remain the same. Right. We're just working harder and doing more content that we're going to reward our subscribers with. So shout out to the stage crew, the Right Pack,
Oh, I don't have it on.
Boo Hive, all the various people. All right. Without further ado, I gotta stop talking about Doughboy. Talking by like Doughboy. You want to read this now?
Yeah. So what we're gonna do? Feel free to send in your questions. Email your questions to us at hello@thelovehour.com, or you can send us voice notes, which I'm really excited about. Y'all haven't done it yet. No, that's not true. I think I may have got 1 or 2 voice notes, but I will play those and they will go top of the list. So if you have a question and you feel comfortable having your voice air, just don't say your name and we will play your question and then we're going to answer it. Also, the first Love Hour After Dark will be with Dr. Rachel on February 1st from 6 to 8. We're going to do it on Facebook Live, and the topic will be on erectile dysfunction. So just FYI that's coming, and I am so excited.
That's coming, all right.
To talk about it, because that is a topic no one talks about at all. And this is something that plagues a lot of men, and therefore it impacts a lot of women.
You know what's funny about that? I almost said I don't suffer from that. Like, why did my masculinity want to say that?
Do you want to say more?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I want to read this question.
Okay, now we're going to get straight to it. We're talking about oral sex today.
Yeah.
This is a listener question. Reader, read.
That's what the sound people make. Dear Kev, me and my girl have been together for 8 years, and I maybe get her to go down on me once a month. And when she does, I can tell she doesn't enjoy it. Only after a few drinks does she really put some effort into it. I use Manscaped, deodorant, and trim down there to stay clean and fresh. What can I do to get her to do it more? Thanks, by the way. Love all your stuff. Been a fan for years. You know, one thing you can do is use Blue Chew. Blue Chew will help you always be prepared when she's ready. Because what if she wants to go down on you and you had a long day. You're not feeling yourself. Blue Chew will get you right where you be when you need to be there. Blue Chew is sponsoring this episode, and now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Listen up, BlueChew.com. That's blue like the color blue. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach, and since they're chewable, they work up to twice as fast as a pill. So you can be ready whenever that opportunity arises. Blue Chew is prescribed online by licensed physicians, so you don't have to go to the doctor's office or wait in line at the pharmacy. And it ships right to your door in a discreet package. Right now, we've got a special offer for our listeners. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first shipment free when you use our special promo code LOVE. Just pay $5 for shipping. Again, that's BlueChew.com, promo code LOVE to try it for free. Blue Chew is the better, cheaper, faster choice, and we thank them for sponsoring this podcast. I just want to clarify something. I get this question all the time.
Okay.
From married men, from single men, people who have been married for 2 years, up to 20. I probably have 8 of these my wife won't go down on me questions.
Is it always the wife won't go down, or is it sometimes the man won't go down either? This is After Dark. Don't be listening to this with your children around now.
I don't think people listen to the Love Hour with their children around anyway.
Maybe not.
I get both. But the one I haven't answered is the men one, because we talked about doing Love After Dark. But I got probably like 2 more since we decided we're going to do this episode. So this is a very, very, very common question. What do I do? A lot of times they're church girls.
Yes.
And that's a big barrier. But I just want to let y'all know I get this one.
Okay, so do you want to start by just like breaking it down? What I wanted to do essentially was break it down from from the woman's perspective and maybe from the male perspective as well. So maybe from you, I can ask this question: why is oral sex such a big thing for men? Like, since it is such a common question, why is it something that men what does it represent to a man?
Well, it feels good.
Okay, well, that's obvious as well.
Yeah, it feels good. I think that's probably high up on there. The feeling is like, yeah, I like it. The second thing is variety of sex. I think we get the other question we get probably 3,000 times a day is how to keep the spice alive. Mm-hmm. You know, how do you enjoy having sex with the same person after 15 years, 20 years? How, Kev, how? Part of the reason is, or part of the way is variety in sexual experience, positions, trying new things, adding new things. Another thing that I'm just thinking of, like, if we're just being completely honest,
okay,
in the patriarchal world, it is probably a position of power.
I was waiting for you to say it because I was gonna bring it up if you did it.
Were you?
Yes, I've heard. Oh, finish your thought.
I think it's like, yeah, I'm the man. You not from like a degrading position.
Okay.
But it's like it just makes you feel very powerful. It's just like on top of the feeling, it's like this is a man's thing. Like, yeah, I'm the man. This is happening to me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think
suck that peen? Yeah.
This is After Dark, Melissa. Don't forget.
Suck it. You like sucking it? You like that? Keep sucking it.
Okay.
You're not finished sucking that peen? You keep sucking it now, please. You suck till can I suck no more? You suck on that peen? Please. This is why we had to put this behind Patreon, because this just having this out in the YouTube land, it'd be...
I'm not going to be able to monetize this episode.
Episode's not monetized. That's completely gone. Just having this in the title means it won't be able to be monetized on YouTube or Facebook. But Patreon, we don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
So definitely a position of power. I don't know how to rank them. Mm-hmm. Like what's the most important. For me, I feel like it's feeling good in variety. Power position is probably like a subconscious manly thing.
Do you think it's really subconscious though? You don't think that that's like, well, maybe subconscious is the right word, but I feel like it is a power dynamic.
Yeah.
And I could see as a man, or I could imagine, I should say, as a man, that kind of bolstering your ego.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I don't even know why. Maybe because of rap music or movies, like, or I don't know. I think so much of being a man is being strong and powerful and having people do what you say, and you know what I mean? Like it's all of that, and you feel like you should, to be a man, you've got to be doing all that. So maybe it makes you feel less manly if your wife or girlfriend won't do that. Makes you feel like you somebody else would do that. It happens in porns a lot of time. A lot of people watch porn. So they're like,
and we learned from Emily that porns are the worst.
Yes. Porn existed before there was even videos. I didn't realize it started Victorian era, pre-Jane Austen. So anyway, I think it's a combination of all of those things. Also, maybe FOMO, feel like, man, other dudes are doing it. And
I think that's one too.
That, man, my girl don't do that. People be bragging and lying a lot too. I mean, that's part of like locker room talk. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's that as well, because I think even when I was younger, it was like, oh, we be in high school and stuff. Be like, man, she sucked my peen. I'll say that. That's not how my friends talk.
I know, I got it.
They said a different word. It started with a letter that was closer to A. So it was like that thing. Like it was that was the bravado thing. So I think it's some residual part of that, part of my life or men's lives. So I think it's kind of a combination of those things that I could think of right on the top of my head. Okay,
so I think those were great answers, and I thought they were really honest and truthful. I think from a woman's perspective, especially if we're talking about a woman that grew up with a very strict religious background, she probably heard or received some sort of messaging that the only thing that should go in your mouth is food.
I've heard church women say that.
Yes.
Older mothers.
Absolutely.
If God wanted you to suck on that, he wouldn't have gave you teeth.
Right.
What are you talking? You can suck on a lot of things with popsicles, bananas.
What's your point?
You don't use your teeth to eat a lot of foods.
Oh, okay. But you do use your teeth for a banana.
Oh, yeah, I guess you do.
Okay, that's why I was confused. Oh, okay, I was
People
like...
don't just suck it on bananas? Like, I like the flavor.
No.
It's not a thing at all.
It's not a thing at all.
Oh.
That's why I was confused. I was like, what's the point?
Smoothies?
Okay, we're just going to let go of the analogy, but I understand what you're saying.
I guess people don't suck on bananas. I don't know why I thought that's how they were eating.
Child, I was like, I got confused in the point here. I think that receiving that sort of messaging from a young age, you don't have the logic that you have at 37,
oh, no.
36 years old to say, wait, you eat suck popsicles and I don't bite like you don't have that same sort of logic. So you just accept that to be the truth, and then you grow up with those same feelings.
Yes.
Making sense? Okay.
Yes.
What are you looking for?
I totally random. Isaiah texted me that Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash, but I don't think that's true.
They were talking about it on this live.
Is it true?
Oh wait, Team Z said it.
Are you serious?
Oh shoot, it might be real.
TMZ, Kobe Bryant dead, dies in helicopter.
He does. You fly helicopters a lot. So as you can see, we found out about Kobe's death in real time while we were shooting the Love Hour. Obviously, we couldn't continue on with the episode. And the next day, we shot a whole reflecting on Kobe thing. So it's been a couple of days since that happened. And I don't think we are that much better with the information.
Still processing.
And I think that's okay. I think I don't think grief is linear. I think you have moments where you're, good and happy, and then you'll see something that makes you sad. I think it's a mix of emotions. It's something that I haven't really had to deal with that much. I haven't been that many people in my life who passed away, and no one who's passed away suddenly. But even when my grandma passed away, it's like you're sad because they're gone, and then you like vacillate between sadness and remembering all the good moments. Yeah. And I think that's all we can really hope for in life, is to have enough good moments to remember with the people we love when they pass away, or to leave those memories to people we pass away. That's why I tell Melissa all the time, I work to enjoy life as it happens, so that if at any time I pass away or someone I love pass away, we have so many good memories to share that we feel much more happiness, that we shared. Yeah, comfort. And the missing part is, I miss that we won't have more moments like this. Right. But we had so many. Right. So we were talking with our kids, not even about death. We were just the other day talking about all the fun vacations that we've done, all the fun things that we've had, and we realized we try to create so many fun moments with our children. I talked about this in the Kobe thing. I've been playing Minecraft with my son, and I played again with him yesterday, and I was just equally as bad as I was the first time. So I asked him, I was like, hey, was I a little better today? And he was like, actually worse, much worse. You killed me, you killed us. It was just funny, but we had a good time. And I think we won't get over this easily, right? And I don't think we should. And I don't think you should get over any death easily. I think part of social media and the internet makes us feel like things need to happen fast. Right. I remember people were like, LeBron hasn't said anything. It's been a day. Like, bro, a day is nothing. Yeah. A day is, if he takes a month, if he never speaks, like, people don't deserve, right. I mean, we're not entitled to anyone else's grief. Absolutely. We're not, like, social media is whatever we want it to be. Like, you don't have to, a person, because somebody doesn't post it, doesn't mean they didn't feel it. Right. And we're not entitled to hear from it. If his wife never makes one post about it, she absolutely was well within her right to do so. And I think we sometimes forget, because we get so much of a look into people's lives, we think we're entitled to that. So good. So Melissa and I have been talking about, there's some things, not huge things, but there's some things that we're going to keep private, just so we have a piece of our lives that isn't shared with social media, because so much of our life is. There's some things with our kids that, my dad was big on me for that. Like, Kev, just do some stuff and don't tell nobody about it. I think we are rightfully sad. Kobe was a big part of our life, big part of our childhood, and he was so gracious when we met him that it's okay to feel sad that he was gone. And for his daughter and the other families on board and all the families that affected, it is okay to feel bad about that and feel sad about that. And there's nothing wrong with you. It's another thing social media does that makes you feel bad. Like, why y'all care about a person you never met? Right. Like, do you realize empathy is a human emotion? Yes. It doesn't have to be you to feel bad. Compassion means I know that probably sucks so bad for you. We cry at movies and the characters aren't even real. Right. So why can't we feel for real people who are really affected in a tragic way? So I hope we never lose that. And I hope we never lose sharing that. And the only light about Kobe, about this tragic situation, is all the stories that have been shared from other basketball players and coaches and sportscasters and people. And like, that's all you hope for in your life, is that when you pass away, people have great stories to share. And there's no shortage of, man, this person made me feel good. And I think that's all I can hope for in my life. That's all I hope to pass on to my kids. Like, it's this terrible thought. But when I pass away, I want my kids to be like, man, that he was the greatest. Mm-hmm. He was the greatest, and I'm going to miss him. So with that, let's take a break.
The Purple mattress will probably feel different than anything you've ever experienced because it uses brand new material that was developed by an actual rocket scientist. It is not like any memory foam you've ever used or that you're used to. You guys know that we are friends of Purple. Kevin and I sleep on a Purple mattress every single night, and I can honestly say that it has improved my sleeping and actually the pain in my neck as well. The Purple mattress feels very unique because it's both firm and soft at the same time, so it keeps everything supported while feeling really comfortable. Plus, it's breathable, so it sleeps cool. It ends up giving you the zero gravity like feel, so it works for any sleeping position. Try it now with a 100-night risk-free trial. If you're not fully satisfied, you can return your mattress for a full refund, backed by a 10-year warranty, free shipping and returns, free in-home setup, and removal of your old mattress. You're going to love Purple, and right now our listeners will get a free Purple pillow with the purchase of a mattress. That's in addition to the great deals they're offering site-wide. Just text HEART, that's HEART, to 84888. The only way to get this free pillow is to text HEART, that's HEART, to 84888. That's right, you're going to text HEART, HEART, to 84888. Message and data rates may apply. I also want to tell you about Love Book. They are a really cute idea and gift idea to give to your partner or your spouse for this Valentine's Day. Really for any gift, holiday giving gift such as Valentine's Day, anniversaries, birthdays, and even for a proposal. It's a really neat way to customize a book that documents your love, your journey together. It's really, really, really super, super cute. Love Book even offers a membership program. You'll save immediately on your purchase today and also receive 50% off any future purchases. Love Book is not for yourself. It is always a gift. It is ideal for that special someone that really deserves a meaningful present. Visit lovebookonline.com/love to receive a special 20% discount only for our listeners. Again, you're going to visit lovebookonline.com/love to receive a special 20% discount for our listeners. Please make sure that you go to lovebookonline.com/love. Check out the website, peruse the options. I think it's such a cute idea, especially if you have no idea what to give your spouse for Valentine's Day, and even more especially if you're doing a proposal. It's a great way to document your love story and have a proposal at the end. I just think it's so super cute. And if you decide to do this, make sure you tag us because I want to see that and repost it because it's super cute. All right, now let's get back to the show. So thank you guys so much for kind of the transition and craziness of this episode. We are going to dive right back into the topic where we're talking about oral sex. We're diving straight right back in, okay?
Right back into that peen, you understand me?
Try to lift the mood just a little bit.
Peen been licked today? Still time in the day?
All right.
Go ahead, or your husband's working. Sneak up on his lunch break. Kiss his penis in the janitor's closet.
Okay, so I believe
today, baby.
Okay, so I believe where we ended, you were talking about from the male's perspective, and I wanted to give some insight. I think on not all women. I always want to be clear that when I'm speaking from my experience, and I'm speaking from research or books that I've read. But obviously, I am not speaking for all women.
Yes,
this is not true for all women. Dear men, if you're looking at this, watching this, instead of taking my word and assuming it to be true for your spouse, have a conversation.
Yes.
One of the worst things Kevin has ever done is he read a book. Him and his brother read a book years ago, or was it a video compilation? You know what I'm talking about? There was a video compilation that's, I don't remember if he was a pastor, but he was supposedly trying to teach men how to woo their wives into having sex.
Oh no, that was marriage enrichment.
No, it wasn't marriage enrichment. This was a book or a video thing that you and your brother, yes. I'm this was not marriage enrichment.
I know what you're talking about. I can't say the name, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so at the time, it was you took what this was verbatim to be true and was trying to apply it to me. And I was well, first of all, ask me first. Okay.
But the guy in the video said it's going to 100% work guaranteed.
There is no better way to piss off your spouse I said piss. I don't know if people say it, but I do. To piss off yourself, than to assume something to be true and not have that conversation with them to validate it.
Yeah,
like
turns
to
out that video series didn't work for you at all.
Yeah, and so I think that's important. So I say all that to say, do not assume what I am saying to be true. Don't have your wife looking at me like, first of all, Melissa, why would you ask her? I'm telling you right now, it don't go down like that. I don't even operate like that. Go have this conversation. Watch this video together. Watch separately and come back and have a discussion about it so she can validate those things and say, I do feel like that. Or actually, nah, she off right there. I don't feel like that. And that's okay. So
in general, the love hour is a starting point for conversation.
Yes.
It's not intended to be, let's do what they did. Right. Let's do what they do. It's, hey, what did you think about that? Right. How does this apply to you? Here's how it applies to me. Here's how I feel different. 100%. And that's how we take in marriage podcasts that we listen to. Sometimes I'll send Melissa an episode and say, hi, I agreed with the guy here. What do you think about this? Or I disagreed, but this is an interesting topic. And I think that's a lot better of a place to come from than, see, this guy agrees with me and this is what his wife does. Because exactly. Now your spouse is automatically on the defensive.
And that's how arguments start. Yeah. So for women who have grown up in a very religious, strict household, they may have heard, I think I actually said this before we kind of took the break, was, the only thing that belongs in your mouth is food. Mm-hmm. And so with that kind of, messaging, they're going to internalize that oral sex is bad, period. Like, there's nothing about this, whether it's performed on me or I'm performing it on you. This is not a blessing that either of us should receive.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you have to, one of the things that Emily talked about is what you think, believe, imagine.
Yep.
Think, believe, imagine. It is think, believe, or imagine. Okay, so that's part of that. What I think.
Yes.
This is what I think about oral sex. So you can't just attack like, well, what if I, put some stuff on it? What if I put some smell good jelly on it? What if I make it taste better? What if you're not dealing with the root issue, which is what I think about this act.
Yes.
And that's what's important. So I think when we're talking about oral sex as a whole and people that have like aversions to it is really trying to funnel down and get to like, what is the root of it? Is it something that you've been taught? Is it something that you believe? It's something that even that you imagine. Maybe I believe that by doing this, I am subservient to you. Maybe I believe that my power is taken away by doing this to you. Maybe I don't like the idea of being on my knees and you standing over me because that's a power dynamic that I'm not comfortable with.
Yeah.
Like all of these things have to be addressed and kind of laid out on the table because if you keep that internal and silence, you'll never be able to get over that hump.
I think that's so true. I think, I'm not sure, Brittany Broda said something that I really liked about it. It was, what does the Bible say on it?
Yeah.
Is it silent on it? And if it is, how do I feel about it? And what's my comfort level with it? I'm paraphrasing. I know it's not exactly what she said. But I think starting from the, how do I feel about it? And exploring those feelings, because sometimes those feelings are passed on. They're wrong. They're from religion or from parents or from movie, whatever. There's a lot of reasons, and outside of just oral sex, it could be a lot of different things about sex. Even like sex on your period. Some people are completely comfortable with that. Oh my gosh,
I still get comments like 3 days ago on the period on your sex video that I posted with the period doctor. Literally someone just commented like 3 days ago, like, it is not that serious, it is this, it is that. And I'm just like, I think the point more is, we were talking about this when we were talking about kale not that long ago, not to yuck my yum. Everyone has a comfort zone about it, and it's not up to me to judge and condemn you for liking something that I don't.
Don't yuck my yum. We teach our kids that too. Yeah. Somebody's eating something that you don't like, going, ugh. Like, bro, don't do that. They're eating that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Although I will do that if you eat arugula.
Don't yuck my yum.
But keep going.
That can apply to anything then.
Oh, yeah.
What about eating butt?
Listen, don't yuck my yum.
I like butt as my yum. Don't yuck my butt if the butt's yuck.
The other thing that's really important about oral sex, or really anything, is the idea of trust. So we also talked about this with Emily, and how important trust is in a relationship. And that extends, remember, every time you have an interaction with your spouse, whether it's sex related or not, you are telling a narrative to yourself. You are confirming something to be true or not true.
Yep.
So every time trust is violated, you are confirming that I can't trust you with my sex life.
Yes.
I can't trust you to be fully free and vulnerable to do something such as oral sex without thinking you might say it out loud or in front of people, or you know what I mean. And so when I'm laughing
about that Kevin Hart.
That's exactly what I was gonna say it.
He was talking about, they were at dinner and they were arguing, and he said his girl was like, you wasn't doing all that when you was eating my butt, and he was like, you supposed to be we ain't gonna talk about that in public. Now you gotta sit there with the I eat butt face.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
That's what happens. And it doesn't even have to be argumentative like that. It's just that if it's a shared moment in private and you break that privacy to the public for whatever reason, now that person doesn't feel comfortable in your in that shared private space with you to do that again, for fear of people might not
being
know.
outed.
And that's the thing. Like, say you like a little gooch touch, and you don't feel comfortable about a gooch touch. Or
what is gooch?
Gooch? It's a little area between your balls and your butthole, a little landing patch. Where if you rub it slightly, you're like, woohoo!
Oh, I got it. Okay.
You know, it's a little landing strip.
I didn't know it was called
small
gooch.
aircraft.
I think you make up names.
Gooch? Gooch is absolutely a thing.
Can we confirm this
Everybody
with the live,
knows
please?
Audience.
So we are actually
stage crew.
If you haven't joined our Patreon, we are live right now.
We're live with the Patreon. I'm checking in the comments.
Okay.
Do y'all know what gooch is?
Has anyone heard of the term
taint?
Gooch?
It's also called the taint.
Okay. I also in
Patrick
the comments.
said it in a video. I'm reading the comments.
No. I mean in the comments on the YouTube as well.
Yes, gooch is a thing. Perineum, the medical term.
Perineum is what I know.
Yeah, but ain't no like girl touch my perineum. That don't sound sexy.
I've never heard gooch.
Gooch. It's called a taint. It's true. We say taint. Both. Yes, we have lists.
You're just gonna skip over.
Never heard of who? No, I've got
Oh.
there. No. Kev, close your legs when you're wearing those peen pants.
Kev is a thought.
Gooch is.
I tell him this all the time. That Kevin is a thought.
Look at that blanket, Gooseby. Can't have nobody looking at my balls. Heard it for the first time on Marlon Wayans' comedy special. Taint the butt and taint the genitals. So boom. I gotta have a lap scarf for you heathens. I thought we were tighter on my body.
This was tight. This is just
Punch in the live, Greg, and punch in so you don't see my balls. Punch in so you go above my waist so you can't see my balls.
Greg was like, what are you talking about?
Punch in, Greg, so you don't see my balls.
Anyway, okay, so gooch.
And see, the other thing is butt play. Some men like it, but they feel like it's gay. Mm-hmm. So they can't, there's still this thing about, and I don't know how, doing things with your wife or partner, how it can be gay. I don't know. But a lot of men feel like they like it, but they can't like it because it's gay, or they like it and don't ever tell anybody that I did that because it's gay or whatever. So all of that to say, keeping your private life private, especially the parts that are like deemed private, is much healthier for sex. And I think that's an unspoken part about sex that is so important, the trust factor.
Yes.
Not only the trust that you won't do something that we agreed is I don't like, or even if I like it but it makes me feel uncomfortable, still don't do that. But also talking about stuff in public that is supposed to be private. Yeah. And when you have damaged trust in your sexual relationship, you can't get to that thing. So one thing I wanted to say, I don't know if this is in your area.
Go ahead.
To get to your wife or partner to do something sexual that they're uncomfortable with, they have to feel comfortable with you overall.
Yes.
Not just in the bedroom.
Yes.
I trust you that you will protect me, that I can feel safe with you, that you will honor my boundaries. And if I'm not comfortable with it, then don't force me or don't keep suggesting it. Because, a lot of times that aversion will grow instead of soften. So I think you have to do some of the work for like getting to the root cause of that. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people are just not comfortable with something that you are comfortable with or want them to be comfortable with. And it's just going to be something that may change over time.
Yes.
And that's the thing also, like, sometimes, and this is what I tell people all the time, I can see why, having sex, waiting till you get married to have sex is good, because there's so much of your sex life that can grow.
So much of it. Tell me, what are you saying?
So there's stuff in Melissa and I's sex life that in year 1, our sex life is very different than it is in year 15.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And just because either partner isn't comfortable with something now doesn't mean they'll never be comfortable with it. Some of it takes time. Some of it takes practice. Sometimes you don't do something because you don't feel like you're good at it.
Right.
You don't feel like it's working. You know what I mean? Like, so it can take years sometimes. Like, your sex life is a process, and that's why I don't want to, this is one of the many reasons I wouldn't want to get divorced and start all over, because to learn another person's sexual likes, dislikes, and teach them my own, like, I have 15 years. I mean, Melissa are still learning and growing and feeling comfortable with each other. I couldn't fathom having to start that all over. But I think that's a thing that we don't want to admit, that some of it just takes time.
Yes.
And what also hurts us, and I get this question a lot in the Dear Kev thing, and I haven't really thought of a funny way to answer it, so I just don't answer it at all. My ex used to do this and I liked it.
Right.
My new person doesn't do this, or they're not comfortable with this, but I really like, how do I, and the truth is, it may take time. And it may not ever happen.
Yeah.
It may not ever. Just like relationships are dynamic, sexual compatibility is a dynamic. So you can't just be like, man, this person used to do this. Can you do this?
Right.
And even if they do, they might not do it like that person. So there's a lot of variables to consider with, because we're talking about oral sex, but it could be a certain position.
Sure.
It could be having sex in the morning versus night. It could be having sex outside. Like, it's a lot of things in the umbrella of, I want to do something that my spouse is not comfortable with.
Right.
This is specifically about oral sex, but that could be a lot of things, you know?
Did you finish your full thought? Okay, that was really good. I think the biggest thing, again, when we're talking about trust, is that it is something that has to be established outside of the bedroom before it can be taken inside of the bedroom. And one of the really great points that Emily Nagowski had on the podcast is that orgasm is reached not by overstimulation, but the falling away of your brakes. And to me, that's vulnerability and trust.
She said that on the podcast?
Yes. I don't know where you were, child. She dropped all the gems.
I don't remember that specifically.
No, we both were like, what?
Okay, so I did hear it.
Yeah.
The falling away of the brakes.
The falling away of the releasing of all of the brakes.
The release leads to release.
Yes. And I think a lot of times when we go into the bedroom, we are armored with breaks.
Yeah.
There, and trust that's vulnerability and trust.
Yes.
That's what you're, I'm saying I fully and completely am letting go to allow myself to reach this level of, like excitement or release or whatever you want to call it. And it's hard to reach orgasm or have that falling away of your brakes, which are your inhibitors, your things that are telling you that these are threats or whatever, when I don't trust you.
Yes.
And so I think that's another layer of things that has to be addressed when we're talking about sex as a whole, but even specifically with oral sex. If I don't feel like I can trust you with this part of me, then there's no way I'm going to engage in. If I feel like you're going to out me, if I feel like you're going to have a conversation about it, I feel like you're going to do whatever it is that I think, believe, or imagine.
Yeah.
That's where all of that comes in.
And that outside the bedroom is just going to be something that either supports that person's feeling or counteracts it. So if I trust you outside the bedroom, then in your thoughts like, I don't know if I could trust him here, but I trust him everywhere else. So that makes more sense.
Right.
And if I don't trust you, it's going to be like, I can't do this because all he's ever shown me this week or he or she over the duration of our relationship is that he or she can't be trusted.
And you're always going to look for things to confirm whatever it is you believe.
Absolutely.
So if I go in thinking I don't trust you, I'm only going to remember all of those times in which you violated my trust. So that sense of safety with being my full unadulterated self with you is something that's really important. And I think something, again, that isn't commonly thought of as, top of mind when we're talking about sex, oral sex, orgasm, or whatever. We often think we have to like overstimulate in order to get there. And it's usually all of these other factors.
I'm telling you, man, for men, me included, it is such a like I don't know how to phrase this exactly, but remembering that there's more to it than the placement of your tongue, finger, penis, whatever, the timing of it, the sense, it's more to it than that. If your partner's mind, say for whatever reason, say your partner's mind is just bogged down with work stress and they're having sex, like especially for women, if they are like literally like, oh my God, I'm late on this project and my boss be tripping and the HR, I got, you know what I mean? Like it's hard to get to orgasm when you're thinking about that.
Sure.
Right? So for a man, I can't speak for all men, but in my experience, that doesn't happen to me as much. Mm-hmm. Like when sex happens, my mind is just like, all right, sex is on the mind.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, so it's just, I think I need to just basically remind men that there's more to it than this feels good for her.
Yeah.
Why isn't she coming? Well, it could be a variety of reasons. Some could be physiological.
Yeah.
Her feet are cold.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think one thing I'm not sure who said, we have so many good guests, it's hard to remember who said what. But, and you've actually said this too, or maybe you were just in the podcast. I don't know who said it.
Keep going with the thought.
But the point is, sex can be pleasurable without climax.
Yes.
And a lot of times men feel like if she doesn't come, then it wasn't pleasurable. Because a lot of times for us, we get to come almost all the time.
Sure.
But even if you don't finish, the race feels good.
Yeah.
Playing.
Right.
Even if you lose a basketball game, you can still go for 35 and 12.
Right.
You know what I mean? You didn't finish, but it felt good.
Right.
And I like it, but I much didn't like it. So there's a lot of variables, a lot of factors that go into all of this.
Okay, so really quickly, I want to do or talk about a related point to trust, and that is pressure. And we kind of touched on this as well, in that in addition to trust, if I feel like you are pressuring me to do something that I'm uncomfortable, if you're pressuring me to go into oral sex or whatever, that is an immediate break, an immediate turn off, and you have violated a boundary. Like there are some women who talk about their spouse literally like forcing their head down there.
Come on, just kiss it.
That is such a violation.
A little kiss.
That is such a violation. And that type of pressure is only going to make me more aversive to this behavior.
So it's bad to just grab the back of your head and say that you didn't know where it was. It's here.
Yes.
Please kiss it.
Pressure is often a turn off. It is something that will go in your mind over and over and over. So he's expecting this tonight. She's expecting this tonight. We need to do this. She wants me to do like that type of pressure. You just be like, oh, I just want to avoid it all. It's like imagine having to do like a paper or an exam or something. You think about it all the time. It becomes daunting to the point where you're just like, I don't want to do it. You could psych yourself out.
Dropping out of college.
Yeah, like it just becomes too much. That type of pressure just becomes too much. Another thing that can make you really like stressed out and pressured in life is when you're thinking about your finances and when you're thinking about money. Here is an honest question. How are you supposed to know what to do with your money? Very few of us are exposed to meaningful advice on how to manage our finances. Even fewer have the means to get professional financial guidance. Betterment is a platform that was built to do something radical, to give accessible financial advice that puts you first. If you're like most Americans, your money is probably sitting in a savings account, likely earning you next to nothing. These are facts. Maybe you have an investment account that you're not really sure what to do with. Betterment can help you make sense of what to do with your money. Investing involves risk, but you don't have to know the ins and outs of the stock market to start saving more or start investing for your future. Betterment's technology will put your money to work, choosing the stocks and strategies that are right for you because we know you have other things to do. Betterment's platform can even provide guidance on what financial goals make sense for you. Give your money a new home with Betterment. Peace of mind included. Download the Betterment app today. That's Betterment, Betterment, for the betterment of you.
So here's what I want to ask you, Liz.
Okay.
What do you say to this man who wants to do, like, is there a step-by-step, not checklist, but checklist? Here, I want my wife to do this. She doesn't want to. How can I get her to, even though she says she don't want to? Okay,
so a couple things. First of all, this is a great question. Thank you. One of the best pieces of advice that I can offer is kind of twofold. So to directly answer your question, I would have a husband and wife, spouse, partners, whoever, sit down and create their stoplight sex chart. Red, yellow, green sex chart. And then find wherever those commonalities are, find whatever, those areas where they feel comfortable kind of pushing that boundary, find out what the absolutes are, and then make a list to work toward that. I think that is the best starting point for couples to understand where you are sexually versus where I am sexually and how we can make those two things line up.
Yep.
Okay. The second thing I would say, and this is probably the biggest takeaway that I can give, I actually just offered this piece of advice to someone recently. Men and women alike, take ownership of your sex life. The moment that you decide, I want to do this because I want to do this, instead of I want to do this, or I should do this, or I need to do this because my spouse wants me to do this. I need to learn how to, oral sex needs to be something I need to do because my spouse wants this. I need to learn how to touch the gooch or whatever because my spouse wants that. It becomes so much about the other person that you have no active role.
Yes.
And I would say the biggest turnaround point or biggest turning point for me is when I decided to take ownership of my own sex life and fully decide, what is it that I like? What is it that I don't like? What is it that he's asking me to do that I feel comfortable doing? What is it that he's asking me to do and I'm just like, yeah, that's a hard pass for me. That's a hard no for me. And being okay to stand in that.
Yeah.
Because we often feel like we need to vacillate and we want to do and we try to do, and then you feel gross or you feel yuck because you haven't dealt with those things that you think, imagine, believe, whatever. You haven't dealt with those things, and that kind of stuff isn't sustainable.
Yeah.
It is not sustainable to always do what your spouse wants you to do sexually.
Yes.
Eventually you will feel used. Eventually you will feel gross. Eventually you will feel like Jesus never wanted me to do this way, and that's why those things will happen.
Jesus never wanted me to suck on that peen anyway. You don't know for sure what he said.
But people will believe that.
Yeah.
And if you haven't and that when I say take ownership, another aspect of that is education.
Yeah.
The biggest the biggest point of empowerment for me was education. It was the books that I started reading, especially the books that aligned with what I believe. So I'm not looking at them with a side eye. Yeah. Like, you know what? This was a real good read. It was real cute, but you're not even saved. You don't even know Jesus. Like, I don't even think this was founded in the gospel truth. And I believe the word.
So wait, what book did you read that made you feel?
So The Good Girl's Guide to Great Sex.
Oh, yes. I remember that one.
Yep. That was probably one of the first, by Sheila Gregoire, I think is her name. Ray Gregoire, actually. I think her name's hyphenated. Probably one of the, no, not probably. It was the first book that I read that was empowering to me.
It lined up with your values.
It lined up with my values, and I did not finish the book feeling like I needed to do all of these things because it would make my husband happy.
Yeah.
That is literally the worst mentality in my non-professional opinion. Okay. That is the worst way to move about your sex life. You have to take ownership.
I love that. I feel like, somebody asked in the comments, what if the roles were reversed? All this stuff is the same. There's people, women also have written, it's not as many as men, also have written, my husband won't go down. DJ Khaled doesn't do that. We the best at everything but oral sex. It's the same process, I think, and I lost my train of thought reminding you about the role being reversed, but taking ownership.
Yeah.
I think realizing that whether it's religious, whether it's parental, whether it's culture, whatever, it's someone else saying you shouldn't do that.
Yes.
And okay, I'm gonna give you an analogy about working out. So I train with Greg, right? Greg trains his body and eats right for what his body is. Like, for whatever reason, oatmeal, oatmeal's not good for him, right? But oatmeal might be good for me.
Right.
So what I was doing with my whole training was like, okay, let me do what Greg does. See if that works. So actually I'll do what Doughboy does. And actually Tony's on the elliptical, I'll do what Tony does. And then I realized I'm just trying to do what works for them. So I messed my back up trying to do this Nike Fit premium app.
Yeah,
so Greg and the masseuse both were like, okay, you got to take it easy on that. So the guy was like, why don't you try swimming because it's light on your back and blah, blah, blah. And it's a full body workout. And Greg had told me that, but I didn't listen to him because I don't listen to him first. Only when somebody else agrees. It's not just you, it's also Greg.
Doesn't make it better.
So the masseuse dude was like, try swimming. And then I was like, you know what, this is a great workout. It actually helps me clear my mind. But now I'm taking ownership over what works for me.
Yes.
Like even in exercises and deciding I like this because of this reason for physicality and for like, it allows me to clear my mind for an hour, because when you are trying to swim and catch your breath, you really don't have time to think about anything else. Like I'm really focusing on literally, like if you're not focusing on when to breathe, you either swallow a whole bunch of water or you run out, you know what I mean? Like there's too much going on to think about something else, which I like because my mind's always racing about content, jokes, whatever. So applying that same thing to sex is good. Like I'm going to do the pre-mental work about this thing. And you said this, but I think it's like super key of like, we always think it's like, well, maybe I need to watch a porn and see how it's done. Like it's not the act.
No.
It's not the like the technique.
Right.
It's the comfortability with doing that. Kobe said this, and I don't mean to bring him up again, but it was actually really good. Somebody asked him, how are you able to hit a fadeaway with somebody's hand in your face? Like, it's ridiculous. And he said, it's because I've practiced that shot so many times that the mechanics are the same.
Right.
I'm comfortable taking that shot. It doesn't matter whose hand's in my face. Like, if they don't block the ball, then it's going to go the same because I practice it and I'm comfortable with it. So if you're not comfortable in the act, the technique won't matter. You can never even get to there because in your mind, you're going to be like, this is wrong. I shouldn't be doing this. I don't feel comfortable with this. Then it's kind of like a gag reflex, no pun intended. But, that's how you feel about it. Like, one more thing I want to say, Brussels sprouts. When I was a kid, I didn't eat Brussels sprouts because all my cartoons said Brussels sprouts are gross, right? Brussels sprouts are gross. Ew, Brussels sprouts. So then as an adult, I don't know if like the marketing for Brussels sprouts changed.
It did.
But I feel like the last
Brussels sprouts
years,
got rebranded.
They had to have gotten rebranded. It is one of my favorite vegetables now.
Me too.
And because I realized as a kid, I never even tried Brussels sprouts. I just assumed they were gross because they were gross on all the shows I watched and all the movies. It was like, Brussels sprouts. Now, it's a good leafy green. I like Brussels sprouts, and that can be the same thing. What's your sexual Brussels sprouts? What's the thing that you're uncomfortable with that you haven't even tried?
I didn't get where you were going, but I got it now.
Yeah, what have you decided is not for you because of whatever reason without even trying it yourself? And you may try Brussels sprouts and decide, oh, actually, I really don't like them. Yeah. But that's better than just doing it because of somebody else imposing that on you, as opposed to you deciding that's really not for me. And as the spouse of the other person, husband, if your spouse is uncomfortable with
not husband necessarily, as
a spouse. Well, I mean, I was talking about this guy.
Okay.
I don't want to be
what guy?
The guy who wrote the question.
Oh, okay.
I don't ever want to be as final as like you're gonna just suck it up and your wife's never gonna be comfortable with it. But how would you say? Is there a way to revisit your red, yellows, and greens?
Potentially, but also I want to be clear though. If someone, this is how I feel, and maybe we should ask an expert. If I put up a boundary and you're constantly trying to push that boundary after I told you no, that is a violation of trust. The best way for boundaries to come down is for you to honor them and allow me the opportunity, I would imagine, to be comfortable in exploring more.
That's good advice.
But if I say this is uncomfortable and you're like, well, can we revisit it? No, I don't like that. 3 weeks later. Okay, well, I didn't touch about it during these 3 weeks, but today, can we revisit it? No, I told this. You're reconfirming you don't trust. I can't trust you. You are having a hard time honoring this boundary, and the fact is, maybe I will never. You know what I mean? I won't ever feel comfortable with it.
That's fantastic.
But if you're always trying to broach that boundary, if you're always trying to find a secret opening on it, that's not reassuring. That's not safety.
So basically, what you're saying, if I understand correctly,
it becomes pressure too.
No, I get it.
Okay.
I agree. Completely trust. Have a strong trust and boundary respecting inside the bedroom and out of the bedroom. And someday they might find themselves on there like, you know what, he's been so great or she's been so great, I'm going to try this.
Yeah, and I've
been doing my own research and I want to lick it now.
Yes. And I
want to give the people hope.
Right, and that's what I was just about to say. I also don't want to give people false hope. Because
Barack Obama said the audacity of hope.
He did. But listen, I don't want to give people a false sense of hope that maybe if I always do right, they will come on the other side.
So you mean they might not ever suck the peen?
The fact
with vigor and joy?
People sometimes don't like what they don't like.
Brussels sprouts. Your peen might be Brussels sprouts.
So that's what I'm saying. This is a conversation that you have to have with your spouse. I'm not here to make that determination for you, and I'm not here to give you that false sense of hope that maybe if I always honor this. But what I will say, if you don't honor it, the possibility more likely than not will never be there. They're going to build a fortress around that boundary, because I need you to understand that it is locked and loaded, and I will forever say no, and I'm going to dig deeper into my no.
And you know what else is probably going to happen? Other things they might have felt comfortable doing, they're going to lose comfort with that.
No, ain't exactly. Those yellows start turning more red. Because I don't know that I can trust this part of me. I don't know that I can trust you with my full vulnerability, because you don't honor what I've asked you to honor.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I think we talked about everything.
Yeah.
So I think we'll take some questions from the live Patreon audience. This is something similar to how the Love Hour Live After Dark will go as well, FYI. We're talking about erectile dysfunction. I don't know if I said that. February 1st.
You did?
Okay. Saturday, February 1st at 6 p.m. Pacific time, we will be talking about erectile dysfunction. And then we will take questions from the audience. And I just locked Shan Booty.
Shan Boodram,
so
not Booty. Booty. It's a nickname on her last name, which is Boodram.
Yeah.
So y'all go ahead and throw your comments in the live chat, Patreon people, and we'll spend some time answering those. And also, if you want to join the Patreon, visit KevOnStage.com. You get access to this show, 5 or 6 other shows, the live cam where we shoot these episodes live, all type of stuff. Got questions now. Okay. How do you get your partner ready to have these conversations? Like, how do you go about it?
Oh, great question. Do you have advice? I think I have one.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'll take the. I'll pull the questions for this, and then you answer them. Well, you start them.
We just had this conversation with someone. I always like to give credit where credit is due, and I'm not going to remember. I actually think it was with Lauren, and she was talking about the soft startup for those uncomfortable conversations. Hi, spouse. This is a really uncomfortable conversation. Like, literally
even
preface
saying
it.
that makes such a difference. I
can inhale and exhale. You understand this. You've acknowledged it's uncomfortable. I know I'm going to be uncomfortable, but I feel like we're uncomfortable together. Instead of, I want to have this conversation, you're always avoiding it, and now it becomes me versus you. I want to have this conversation with you. I know it's going to be like really uncomfortable, but it's really important to me that we, sit down and have a conversation about our sex life.
Absolutely.
I heard this thing, and don't be careful about mentioning I heard on the Love Hour, because that's how people start hating. Don't mention other things a lot. I'm so serious. Again, this is how I react, but you can read your spouse and figure out if that's how they react too. But if you come in with too much advice from outside sources, I now
you're
hate
building a case.
Yes, and I now hate that outside source.
Don't have them hate the Love Hour, man. We got bills.
Low key, in real life, do not come talking about I heard this on this, I heard this on this, and what they told me, and this. I don't want to hear what these other people have to say. I've heard about this thing. It's a red, yellow, green light. And basically we would sit down and discuss our sexual positions and figure out what you're really comfortable with, what you're interested in perhaps doing in the future, and what are your absolute boundaries.
Yeah.
And the purpose of this is for us to get on the same page about our sex life.
Yeah.
And I promise that I will abide by and adhere to whatever your boundaries are.
And that's what you need. That's like you would respect someone else, your spouse, in any other part of your marriage, to do that. And you say, hey, I don't like when you embarrass me in front of other people. Yes. Whatever, like you would respect that. Mm-hmm. So just do that same thing in the bedroom. Here's another question I think is good. How do you tell your partner that they're really bad at something sexually?
Oh, how do you tell your partner that they're really bad at something sexually? Ooh, I got to think about this. I don't think you have to tell them. I think you should show them.
What do you mean?
So
when you lick, like too much lick with the heavy, pull back a little, like that.
I think that you can give
lick a peach
direction.
Peach looks like a coochie a little bit with the little ball on it.
I think that you can give direction.
During sex, you mean?
And during sex. You don't think so?
You absolutely can.
Yeah, and I think that might be a better way.
You shouldn't go, no.
Oh, no, don't.
But you're like, hey, softer.
Right.
If that's not working, let's try this.
Right.
You want to move to a different position?
Yes.
Or you know what, this is
I don't think the conversation has to be like, let's talk about how you're bad at this.
Yeah. You know what you can say instead of, you're bad at this? I don't really like that. that takes the ownership off of them. It's like, you're not bad at this. When you do that doesn't feel good to me. Let's try that.
Okay.
Or let's try this. That's better than you're bad at this.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm here for it.
That might be too much. Sometimes a very specific direction is good.
Yes.
That's too much pressure.
And I think
that's too hard. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we often underestimate
somebody also
how
said
much direction your partner wants.
Underestimate?
Oh,
man, give me a GPS to that climax.
Yes.
Turn right here.
Yes.
After this light, go forward.
I was also going to say this. I don't know how you guys are going to feel for all my really churchy people. But mutual masturbation, I think, is also a beneficial way of demonstrating how to do things with direction.
Now, mutual masturbation, you mean,
I'm
masturbating you or you masturbating me?
So I mean both. I mean either each other or me simply watching you to understand how this works.
What you talking?
Listen, I just said don't talk about it on other podcasts, but listen.
This is after dark. You sick about touch yourself?
This is on another podcast. But I think
Gooseby, you heard it.
I think that masturbation. Okay, so I want to be clear because I'm gonna just say it because I know church folks are gonna be like, and this is where I get off. This is my stop. But I think that masturbating in front of your spouse, so that would be the mutual part, whether it's to each other or in front of.
The audience like, what you talking for real?
I know, I'm sorry.
What you talking?
I know, but you know how you like it.
Yes.
And I think it is a great way to literally demonstrate for your spouse, for your partner, how you want it done. Why are you looking at me like that?
Listen, I didn't think you were going to say that. So I'm like, listen, that's a private life thing that became public. I said, let me show you. I appreciate everything you're doing here. Now, when I'm by myself, hey man, this is how I usually. What you got to do, you got to start here. Okay?
I want to be
the
clear.
helmet.
Okay.
You got to go to the helmet here with the helmet. Okay, now that's too much pressure. It's going crazy. Then you take a break, go down to the balls. What's up with the ball? What y'all doing, balls? Y'all lonely? Tickle on them balls, and balls get tickling, and now I go back up to the helmet. Shaft work. Yeah, that's me. You got to work on those things. Sometimes you go too in. You got balls here with the right, like Lawrence Fishburne in Boys in the Hood. And you got to go helmet.
I think we're done with life questions
helmet
for the day.
You get to that action, you be like, oh, I see the light from heaven. What's the theme song from Amen? Shine out a light from heaven, Lord.
Nobody
Shine on me.
Nobody knows this stuff.
Shine out a light on heaven.
Nobody knows.
You got to get that helmet. It's like playing a tambourine. You got
all right, are we done here?
Cup and rub. What you doing? A cup and rub. You got to cup them balls and got to rub on the helmet. Cup and rub, and then rub on the cup and rub.
You did a full 45-second theme song.
Listen, guys. Here's the truth, Melissa. I 100% agree. You should know your body well.
Yes.
Better than your partner. Don't put all that pressure on them. Learn your own body.
I concur.
And share your experience with them so they can do that with the way you like it. One problem is if you don't know what you like, how can I tell you?
Right.
How can I tell you what to do to make me see the promised land if I do not even know my own self?
Okay, so I know for some of you that may have been too much. I know for some of you, like I said, this is where you get off, and I think that's fine. This doesn't have to be
the bus stop.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna get my stop ain't for 2 hours.
All right, I'm head out.
am walking.
And I get that because you know that this hasn't always been, a revelation that I would have agreed
this is
with.
New. Me.
Very new. But I also understand and can see the importance of doing something like this.
Yeah.
So your spouse is like, oh, I get it now, boo. I got it all together. I see it. I understand what you're doing. I get it, and that's what we're doing moving forward.
Absolutely. They said Liz gives Kevin itch. He goes down the street 2 miles.
Seriously.
That's all I know, Josh Agons.
Okay.
Listen, I freaking love this show. You should be grateful that you get to watch this free. This is demonetized on YouTube. Just by the title alone.
This is
demonetized. This is why these type of conversations are only going to be on our Patreon, because there's no way for us to monetize this on YouTube or Facebook because of the title. And we can't even put a fake title in, so Again, join the Patreon for $5. You get the Love Hour After Dark. You get Righteous and Ratchet bonus episodes. You get the Gonzi Tapes music show. You get, in case you missed it, Too Hot for TV. You get Slept On with Doughboy. You get Fitness with Goo. You get all that stuff. We didn't even raise the price on you, and it helps us to be able to make this content that isn't going to be able to be ad supported on YouTube or Facebook. It helps us with equipment and the office, and it helps us to be creative. Phase 1 is our shows. Phase 2 is being able to produce other people's shows. Phase 3 is television and movies. Kev on Stage Studios. We are very early in phase 1, but we appreciate this. So enjoy the free preview. The stage crew who's watching this live, y'all are funny. We love you in the comments.
I should give them a discount code for the conference too. That'd be good.
Stage crew?
Yeah.
Throw that discount code up in that Patreon.
Okay, do you have another question?
Or
should we end
Here's
here?
a good question. Last one.
Okay, last question.
Liz, married man here. When it comes to doing something new, should a man try first or ask first?
I am a strong believer in setting it up first. If it is something completely new, listen, have a conversation with your spouse though, and maybe that would be that. But the way that me, myself, personally, Melissa Denise operates.
Speaking for yourself only.
Yeah, speaking for myself only. If you catch me too far off guard, it's
a no-go.
It's a no. And so I would need that, like, yo, so listen, I was kind of thinking that would be like super cute.
You do not want to say super cute for everything. He said, for example, how oral sex ends. Not trying to be too graphic. So I think what he's trying to say is where the finish happens. Amen?
I
got it?
Yeah.
So you definitely do not want to try and make that a surprise.
No.
If you just listen, not only you might get it once, but you probably won't get it again. And what have you now done? Broken trust.
100%. And for some reason, again, going back to think, believe, or imagine, that can be disrespectful.
Yes.
That could be a very disrespectful
If we've agreed
act.
up to this point, I'm going to do this, but I'm not comfortable with that. And two things can be true.
Yes.
As Melissa always says, I may be comfortable with the act, but not the finishment and where that goes. You say, but I really want this, and I'm just not gonna say no. We say we've agreed, like you let me know first, and I'm gonna pull back. You do what you got to do. Hey man, that's all. Fine.
Yeah.
And now on your own volition, you're like, man, this feels so good. I'm not gonna say nothing. And now you've surprised your wife. You have broken
the entire
trust.
Oral sex act. Throw it in the garbage. With the gasoline draws. Like the whole thing, you have violated trust where I don't even want to be approached with this situation and the possibility of it happening again.
Yeah.
That the whole thing is now off the table. And that's what you don't want. And again, that is going back to that trust and vulnerability.
That's a huge violation of trust.
Yes.
The same as like buying a car without telling your wife, like, hold on, you did what? You know what I mean? Like, and that sexual space is so sacred. Mm-hmm. So to damage that because you want to feel good one time, like, broach the subject.
Yeah, you have to have a discussion. And to be honest, I really think a lot of this is not things that should be done mid-act. Outside of the direction thing, I think that would be okay. Yeah. But I think because sometimes that could be like weird outside of the bedroom. However, I think a lot of like what I'm comfortable with, you're not comfortable with, like the red light, green light, like you should go in with a clear understanding because that is going to increase trust and vulnerability too.
Absolutely.
If I feel like I've laid this out, I trust you enough to, abide by and adhere to, then I feel like I can be my free self.
And I think they said in this comment, asking first is an investment in trust because it shows care. Even if the person
who said
says
that?
No, Angelica,
child, I couldn't have said it better.
She's been stage crew before the name. She's moderator.
I literally could not have said that better.
That's an investment in my trust.
Yes.
Hey babe, this is something that I've been thinking
Angelica,
about.
Girl, that was good.
She's good. She's a great person.
Yes.
Even if your partner ends up saying no, I don't feel comfortable with that. That is better than trying it
100%
and finding out they don't feel comfortable with that. And also what I found in my own marriage, don't assume what your spouse may or might not be comfortable with.
Yes.
Because sometimes we put things on them that aren't even there. And we're like, he ain't cool with that. She ain't cool with that. You don't even know.
Yeah.
So asking never there's nothing bad about asking.
No.
If it's phrased good. You know what I mean? If it ain't like, my old girl used to do this, can you do it?
Don't do that either.
If it's like, hey, this is something I'm interested in that I would really like to explore, I feel like that's a good way to put it. And your spouse can say, oh, this is, no, I'm not comfortable with that. Or maybe on some occasions, yes, after a glass of wine, but probably not.
And
or
I want to say this.
Ever, never, but I'll give you something else.
But I think this is the one last thing that we could say. We can kind of close this out. I like this part of this.
I love this. Is what I like Patreon.
Okay.
And the other thing I want to say before you say this, when we're not making this public, I won't even have to censor myself because I'm holding back a little because I know this is going to be public on YouTube. When I know it's just for the people, I can be a little more ridiculous than even this. So go ahead.
The last thing I was going to say is that for the spouse that is more conservative, I would say, shut up, Greg. For the spouse that is more conservative, the only thing I would say, because I've had to do this myself, is do the work behind your no. Meaning, figure out what is it that is causing you to say no. Don't just say no, because that's not fair.
That is good.
So it's so easy because really the person who is the more conservative one, the person with the low desire, is the one that has the power in the relationship.
For sure.
And so because you have that, you want to be mindful that you're not just like abusing it for the sake of, I don't feel comfortable with that. The answer is no.
And you feel like a child on the other side of that.
Yes.
Because I said so. Like, we don't even tell our kids that anymore because I said so.
Right.
Like, give your spouse the respect of saying, I don't feel comfortable with this because of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Or I don't yet feel comfortable with this, but I'm doing some work behind this. Or I don't feel comfortable with this, but I do feel comfortable with that.
And I want to even be a little bit clearer. I literally think that what Emily, and I use this a lot, I've said it a gazillion times even today, and to be honest, since that episode, I find myself asking myself this question when I'm in the middle of saying no. What is it about this act or this moment that I think, believe, or imagine that is causing me to say no?
Yes.
That's some deep work that you have to do. And if you can, in the moment, before you like really fully like commit to your no, ask yourself, he's asking me for oral sex and I want to say no. What is it about this that I think, believe, or imagine?
Yes.
What is it? Is it because I don't trust him? Is it because something my mama taught me? Is it because I'm tired? Like, go through the process and go and figure out what is rooted in that no.
100%.
That work will help you either break free and open up your nose or give you clarity that this is a true hard boundary for
100%.
me. And this is the reason why, and I can articulate that and feel very comfortable saying no because I have worked it out.
Absolutely.
You can't come at me, well, why? Well, and now I feel pressured and now I want to do it. No, I told you no. This is the reason why it's no. And it's always going to be, and there's nothing, right.
I can respect it. Also, I want to say this last thing because the other part of the question he said that we didn't mention, he said sometimes she feels comfortable with alcohol. In the comments, someone said, and don't try to use alcohol to get past the red and yellow lights and then try to blame it on the alcohol. Don't drink and like, oh, she's drunk. Now I'm going to try something that is a red light because we have been drinking or tipsy. Listen, you talk about sobering up or you talking about remembering, that's broken trust is broken trust.
Yes.
Even if you try to pass it off with intoxication, oh, we were both drinking. I don't know. Was that a red light? Look yellow to me. Was it yellow? Look green. Come on.
Yeah, I agree.
Have enough about yourself because otherwise you're still going to be broken.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the result is the same.
Even if the person goes along with it. Yeah. Right? Under the influence, they go along with it. That doesn't mean they feel good about it.
Right.
They still feel like now I still feel used. I feel dirty. I feel like duped or tricked.
Yes.
And that's a dangerous place to be in for trust. And trust is the key to getting that peen sucked. Thank you guys for listening to this 12-hour After Dark episode.
Do you have to use the bathroom?
I do have to pee.
I do it.
Out of my urethra.
Okay.
I'm hungry, and me and Doughboy got some work to do. But I just want to say, the reason that I stopped doing live broadcasts publicly, too many trolls.
Yeah.
Having to explain the rules. So that's why we go live all the time. Mm-hmm. But just for the Patreon, because the Patreon people support. Trolls ain't gonna pay $5 just to troll. And if they do, they still getting blocked. But our troll amount.
And you'll get your $5 back.
You will not get your $5 back.
No refund.
You can quit. The $5 already been put on.
I said correct.
New office rent. I gotta pay it in April.
Hello?
You understand me? I asked. Like April? It's coming so very fast. So and it's easier to manage the comments.
Yeah.
It's easier to manage the questions. So please do join us. KevOnStage.com. Click the Patreon button. We love you. God bless you. God keep you. We'll see you at the conference.
Bye.